The user funds are gone. At that point, it's clearly that he lied to his users, his investors, his VC investors, his employees. At that point, I thought I couldn't, like, whatever data that's in the data room, we couldn't trust anymore.
Look, I'm going to agree. It was a terrible investment, 100%, and I lost my money.
The regulators all around the world will be scrutinizing us very heavily going forward. And getting new licenses around the world is going to become much harder.
Surprising news of last week was the overnight collapse of FTX, the huge and now bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange where people bought and sold crypto assets like Bitcoin, and the astonishing disappearance of the wealth of its ultra-rich founder, Sam Bankman-fried. Crypto has had a rough year, with many currencies plummeting in value and exchange platforms collapsing. But FTX had, until last week, seemed like an exception, both in its stability and in Bankman-Fried's reputation as an honest player. But after reporting alleging that Bankman-Fried had covertly and inappropriately used funds from FTX customers to make risky bets for a hedge fund he also ran, a huge number of customers rushed to withdraw their money from the platform quickly, causing the exchange to implode. Lawmakers and regulators are left to deal with the fallout after the collapse of a firm and individual that had been a key presence in Washington policy debates about crypto and broader questions as to the regulation and supervision of this growing market. Who then are Bankman-Fried and FTX? What exactly happened, whose fault is it, and most pressing, what happens next?
Okay, can't play with this structure anymore because there's not enough transparency. I'm going to wait for the SEC or whoever it is going to be, the Fed or whoever, to regulate this stuff. This is actually a turning point for this industry. It's a maturation for this industry. That's what's going to happen.
Sam tweeted, "At some point I might have more to say about a particular sparring partner, so to speak, but you know, glass houses. So for now, all I say is, well played, you won." Can you respond to that?
I think only a psychopath can write that tweet.
Who is Sam Bankman-Fried? Born on the campus of Stanford University to two law professors, Bankman-Fried graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology with a degree in physics and mathematics. Initially an intern, Bankman-Fried was eventually hired by trading firm Jane Street Capital, trading international exchange-traded funds. In 2017, Bankman-Fried noticed that the price of Bitcoin varied significantly across international jurisdictions. Today it remains fairly consistent and began to arbitrage Bitcoin, particularly in and out of South Korea, in what was known as the kimchi swap. This arbitrage was more technically complex than it sounds, as at the time significant technical maneuvers were required to connect Bitcoin trading platforms and execute trades. Bankman-Fried swiftly thereafter launched his own trading house and hedge fund, Alameda Research, that specialized in making these trades, and from this Bankman-Fried became a billionaire virtually overnight. From this platform Bankman-Fried became one of the most recognizable faces in crypto, launching a wide range of sponsorship deals from Formula One race cars to Miami basketball. Bankman-Fried became something of a fixture in Washington, testifying before Congress and pledging $1 billion to Democratic races in the midterms. While he reneged on this promise, he did bankroll Democrats to the tune of at least $40 million. In congressional testimony and elsewhere, Bankman-Fried had painted a picture of FTX as a source of stability to crypto markets and impervious to recent difficulties in tech markets. What is FTX? FTX was a cryptocurrency exchange. It's a website where you can create an account, show up with your credit card or your bank account, and use it to buy crypto assets. Crypto assets are effectively digital financial assets which people buy, and they speculate on. In some ways, it looks a lot like a traditional brokerage, like a Fidelity or Charles Schwab or Robinhood. But crypto exchanges don't trade regulated financial products like stocks or bonds, they trade unregulated financial assets, which are crypto tokens. And these tokens are not subject to the same level of regulation as most other products in the market. A lot of the problems that arose out of the recent catastrophe are due to the lack of regulation of these products. What happened? On November 2nd, influential crypto news publication CoinDesk reported on a leaked document that appeared to show that Alameda Research had an unusually large number of FTT tokens on its balance sheet, despite the financial separation that is supposed to be in place between the two companies as distinct legal entities. Not only did this have segregation of asset implications, but FTT is not viewed as liquid enough to make it suitable to support Alameda's balance sheet. On November 6, Zhao announced on Twitter that he had decided to liquidate its FTT holdings in response to the CoinDesk revelations. Zhao noted that the sale would take place over time in a way that sought to minimize market impact. Despite these assurances, the move spooked the market and the price of FTT plummeted. Traders quickly tried to liquidate their own FTT exposures, and the resulting run on FTX led to an estimated $6 billion capital shortfall over only 3 days. On November 8, Binance agreed to bail out FTX, buying its only significant competitor. Zhao noted that the sale would allow FTX to honor its commitments and pay out its withdrawals. On November 9, Binance announced that it would no longer purchase FTX, coming to this decision as a result of corporate due diligence. This tweet is no longer available. Binance pointed to FTX regulatory investigations and reports of mishandled funds. On November 10, FTX announced that it had reached a deal with blockchain platform Tron that would allow it to use digital wallets other than FTX to swap some tokens. On November 11, FTX, Alameda Research, and a number of other Bankman-Fried vehicles pled for bankruptcy in Delaware, and Bankman-Fried stood down as CEO, with prices and market value having fallen between 80–90%. On November 11, shortly after the bankruptcy filings, more than $600 million in digital assets were reportedly stolen from FTX in a hack. The collapse of FTX was swift and brutal.
Sam knows that he was using the user funds to do trading for Alameda, and he has been probably doing this for quite a while that nobody else knew until very recently. Well, a small number of people in FTX probably knew, but most of the other normal employees probably did not know. I think that's probably the most likely situation.
This won't be happening again. If I'm going to put serious capital to work in a broker-dealer, in an exchange, it's going to be one that's regulated, that has transparency, and has the same rules of test that every other exchange that deals in stocks and bonds has.
I hope one good thing that comes out of this FTX disaster for their investors and their employees is that we see an acceleration towards regulation, right, and leaning into good stablecoin regulation, because I think that that is what's necessary to build back confidence for people.
Both Bankman-Fried and FTX were viewed as relatively safe hands, the reputable face of an industry that has struggled to dodge criticism as being an unregulated hotbed of crime and speculation. In addition to the reputational loss, the fall of FTX has had significant economic knock-on effects for crypto markets. The total market capitalization of digital assets has decreased roughly 20%, with all major digital currencies seeing significant losses. It is, however, worth noting that the spectacular fall of its only real competition will likely have positive outcomes for Binance, provided it can avoid a similar end. Bankman-Fried has lost an estimated 96% of his $26 billion personal wealth, and what can be described as one of the fastest and most significant losses of fortune of all time. In addition, Bankman-Fried will certainly be under investigation by both the federal financial regulators and courts in New York and the Bahamas.